Okay, let me continue. Okay, so this is so important. For a man, his home is his sanctuary. It's a place where he can drop his armor that he puts on out there in the world where he's fighting. He's a warrior to be able to provide for his family or for the lifestyle, provide so that you guys have choices. You can eat what you want, maybe have a vacation. So he needs a place that's safe. He doesn't have to do battle with you. He doesn't have to put on his armor, so you're going to be like a safe place, not a nag zone, not a zone of emasculating. Yeah. So do your best to create home as a sanctuary and a place where he's going to be safe. Okay. There you go.
That's beautiful, Lucy. Those tips are golden. I remember years ago, a therapist telling me that men are always looking for home and women are always looking to get out of the home. And I thought that was really interesting because it was true in my scenario anyways. And I guess it's because of that hunter-gatherer, like we're always at home, right? And the men are always out. So they're always looking for a home base. And we're just looking to get out of the house because we're just, sick of the kids, sick of the gathering and all that stuff.
Yep. This is where it's really important to take care of yourself, to put even a little bit of a system in place, yeah, to keep your feminine nourished, yeah. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
You have something else regarding that? Okay.
So what you said was, it is beautiful, and it does take something to create all these things. Don't expect, women shouldn't expect that they'll stop emasculating just like that. Yeah, it's a big habit, and we've been doing it for years, and some of us more than others. So, do your best, take it like week by week, day by day, month by month, right? And, say this month I'm going to work on appreciation. And this month I'm going to work on, I'm going to notice where I emasculate, and then I'm going to apologize if I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's great. It takes time to reprogram us for sure. But those are really amazing and wonderful tips for us to create, a really beautiful relationship. I think that's exactly what we need to do. We need to do more of that. Thank you for that. So, Tantra in North America, like Tantra is a huge topic, which, I'm going to get you to kind of talk about that at the end. But right now I want to talk about sex, because clearly that's, part of what you do. And it's very important in a relationship. So first of all, what is good sex? Because I feel a lot of women don't really know what good sex is. Just from my own personal, survey amongst women, they're not even, they're not even aware of what really great sex is. So can you tell me about that, since you're the expert on that?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think the first thing is for a woman to know how her body works, and just to know herself. So I made a little note here. Hopefully most of your ladies know how to masturbate. It's a great way to get to know yourself and to know what pleases you. So, we all know that touching all over really gets us going. Yeah. So we need to say that. And I'll just tell you why that works. When a woman touches herself even, or touches her hair, and certainly when a man does, what happens is something called oxytocin, a chemical gets released in her body. And it's a very important chemical. It's a bonding chemical. However, it's also absolutely necessary for the oxytocin to be flowing in her body so that testosterone will be released. There will be no testosterone. In other words, no chemical of desire in her body if she doesn't get enough oxytocin flowing. Some women have higher levels of testosterone. That's fine, and they get going faster too. But most of us, I'm going to say 90% of us, is like 1 in 10 has got much higher sex drive. They're made differently. That's fine. They've had different experiences. That's fine. But you need to express this and say, you know what? I actually need 30 minutes. That's going to freak them out. You can work towards it, 10, 15, 20. I need to be touched all over, non-genitally. Ladies, if a guy goes to your genitals first, for most women, that's game over. Yeah. It short circuits our arousal. And that's because energetically, women open up from the outside of their energy field to the inside. And the inside, the last part, would be the genitals. Mm-hmm. So non-genital, non-breast touching for, start with 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and eventually, hopefully 30 minutes. Some guys really like giving massage. Sometimes guys get bored. You can stroke him on his penis and keep him interested. Just don't let him get too far that he wants to jump on you right away, okay? But you need to express yourself. And one of the things that happens for a lot of women is we'll just have sex even if we don't want to. Now and then that's okay, but if it's an ongoing thing, I would say that there's education needed on both parts. Because if a woman isn't enjoying sex, why would she bother? And so then we comply, and then it's like, let's just get it over with. Come on in and, do your thing, right? And, that starts to set a pattern. And, for most men, for a while, they weren't ever going to notice, especially if you're faking that you're enjoying it in one way or another. Because, men have an orgasm pretty much every time. For a woman, it's a little more complicated, yeah? So, it's not broke as far as he's concerned. But it is, right? So he doesn't have to fix it, but for you, it's not working. So it's important to talk about these things. So you would talk about it at a time, not during lovemaking, yeah? Bad time to point out that he's doing something that is not working. Put him into shame, he'll get up and he'll be pissed at you, yeah? Take a time when you're both calm and friendly, and you can have a conversation about it and say, there's something that I haven't told you yet. And I'm a little afraid to say this, but, there's something more I'd like. Maybe don't talk about what's missing so much. You need to plan this in your head, ladies, first, and get it straight so that yeah? And say, what I'd like more of is touch. So, I love being with you. I desire you. You've got to stick some acknowledgement in there before you hit them with the other thing, right? But I need to be touched more. Like, do you think that would be something that you could do? Again, you're making a request. You're not demanding it. He has a choice. Do you think you could do that? And then there might be a conversation about yes or no, or what does that look like? He might say, well, what do you mean? Oh, 30 minutes? Well, you say we could just start for 10 minutes and stay that way for a week's worth or 2 weeks and then take it up. Would you be willing to try like that? Yeah. And then also really educating yourself genitally what a woman needs. A lot of women will have sex without clitoral stimulation, and very high proportion, way more than 50% of women are not gonna have an orgasm just from penetration and intercourse. They just won't. Zero. First of all, they're not warmed up enough. Second of all, they haven't got the clitoral stimulation, which sets off it's an arc of energy that goes into the G-spot, which is how you penetrate. Women who orgasm with penetration, is their G-spot is having an orgasm as well as clitorally. So for most women, clitoral stimulation first and during intercourse, yeah? And, this is hard for most people to hear, women and men, But instinctively, we call the female vulva and vagina yoni. It's just a beautiful name for female genitalia, yeah? And we call the penis lingam or jade stock or vajra, again, bit nicer names. It's more sacred to us. But we say that, the yoni really has to want the lingam. And most women will let a man penetrate before they're ready, either because, he's in a rush. Some men rush because they're afraid they can't keep their erection, which is something they can solve. Yeah, there's courses and stuff that they can take, or they need to investigate what it is. Or they want it over with. Okay, I'll give him a few minutes of this, he'll come and boom, get on with my life because I'm not having a good time anyway. Yeah. So one of the reasons for not having a good time is because, you're not ready for penetration. And so you might need to just say that in a conversation too, that I need to wait until I'm really, really ready. And this isn't just like that moment when you feel, oh yeah, I want something inside me. You have to give it even a little longer because that can disappear. A woman's orgasm. So here's something interesting. A man's orgasm is fast, quick, sharp. Yeah. Woman's orgasm is a wave, and it goes up and it goes down. And, a man, if he really wants to learn something, he can learn how to tune into that wave. There's ways to do that are very, very empowering for men and very satisfying for women. So, when that first wave comes of like, oh, I want something inside me, know that it might go away, but then it'll come back up again if you're getting enough stimulation. Yeah, and the right kind of stimulation. There's a real process for stimulation for women. As I say, it goes from outside. So, kissing is perfect. It's like very normal in our culture rather than some of the Tantra stuff. But, outside to inside means head, arms, feet. Can I stand up just for a second? So you would, the man would just work, as if there was a circle, several concentric circles going inwards and end up at the yoni. Last place would be at the yoni where he would touch. So kissing is wonderful. 10 minutes. Woohoo! 10 minutes of kissing. There's a chakra at the tip of your tongue for a woman that goes right down to your clitoris. You can tell him that. That should make a difference. So lots and lots of kissing will start opening up the yoni area, and the desire will build and build. Yeah. There's also, for a woman, if he looks in her eyes, into the iris, there's an energy pathway from the iris right into her heart. Yeah. And that's really important, that a woman feels heart connected to the guy she's with. And you can ask him to just do that too. It might take a little practice. Sometimes, when we do this in a course, people start giggling or get really embarrassed because the intimacy, it is heart to heart. And it just, tell you what happened for me the very first time I did this. I couldn't look at people because I felt so inadequate, and I thought they were looking into me and seeing how inadequate I was, So, on the first time you try this, it may not necessarily go the way you want it or go well, but with a little bit of practice, everything calms down and you get this really beautiful intimacy, heart to heart between the two of you. And if you do that before you have sex, it doesn't even have to be like, let's do Tantra. You can just say, hey, let's just look at each other. I heard that this, and it makes me feel so great. And then you can start kissing from there. It's like a really natural segue. And again, that would give him points to know that he's done something that works for you, Okay, maybe one little last thing. Now I forgot. Oh, darn. Postmenopause.
Sex for the females. What else? So energy going out and in, tongue, eye, energy chakra.
Well, yeah, maybe this is sort of the flavor of what I was thinking was, sex is ongoing learning.
Yeah,
We are not educated in our culture. And
yeah,
we are also a culture that is anti-pleasure, sexual pleasure or pleasure, anti-feminine, anti-masculine. Think of all the male bashing. Some of it, the toxic masculinity, it needs to be curtailed. And, the feminine sword has to come down. Yes. But, there's all that other emasculation is just frivolous and unnecessary. So we're anti-pleasure. We don't know. Other cultures, kids learn that it's okay to be in their body when they're young, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So is a lot of it's education and then practicing what you learn. So and having your expectations be, even in Tantra, you learn a ton, but it takes a little practice. Yeah, things change quickly. Yeah, I can tell you. But, you have to have the patience, the compassion for yourself and your partner, and the knowledge that, Rome wasn't built in a day. Children don't learn to walk in a day. You didn't get the skills that you're very skilled at in a day.
Mm.
Sex is an art as well as a skill, and just be patient and learn, laugh when it doesn't work it out together in calm conversations if you can. And if you mess up, then apologize.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
Oh, I love that. There's so much information that you shared right in there. There were so many things I wanted to say, but I think that we're going to leave that at that. The only question I have for you is, so if you've been in a relationship like you have for a long period of time, how do you keep that sexual energy going? Because we acknowledge and we know it's so important for bonding, but like, what are some, tips that you use with your husband, and how do we make sure that that level of connection stays with our relationship?
Yeah, it takes a little effort. Um, so some of the things that we do is we make the effort to keep it exciting by, number one, we evolve ourselves. So we both of us have different interests. My husband's a builder. He's always, fixing this and building that, and around the place. He loves doing that. And of course, I have my interests as well. And then sometimes we'll do things together, an interest that we both have. It might be like taking a trip. Doing something new together can really keep that interest in each other up. Reading a book. So I'm a big reader, yeah. Or maybe watching a movie and, having a discussion. You don't have to watch it together, but, having the conversations that you would like to have, and bring the partner in. If they don't want to, fine, you can find something else to do. Um, and I would say sexually, try and have a little bit of a regular sex life, so that you don't go for longer than, say, 2 or 3 weeks without sex. Yeah. That starts once you start moving into sex once a month, that is officially considered a sexless marriage. So, however often a week you want it, or you might have to compromise. One person might have a higher drive, but, doing your best that you can just to keep it fresh. It's very important. And and another thing, just cuddle. Yeah,
Mm,
because that releases oxytocin. So, if you're watching a show together, um, get a big couch, or, sit really close to each other, or lie together with your back against his chest, or, um,
yeah.
cuddle for 20 minutes in the morning, you don't have to do any canoodling.
Yeah. That's wonderful advice. I love cuddling. Cuddling's the best, and it reminded me of years ago when I had a lover in India, and the first thing he said to me was, "Would you like to cuddle?" It just like, yes, I would. Like that. Before, would you like to get together? You'd like to hook up? The would you like to cuddle was like magic to my ears. So I love that word.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Smart man. Wow.
Yeah. Very smart. Very smart. Okay, so I kind of wanted to lead into this with a discussion around what Tantra is. So why don't we have that now? So just explain what is Tantra, because there's a lot of confusion, especially here in North America, because it's been skewed here in North America. What is Tantra? I mean, it's huge, but we don't really understand it. So can you just help us understand more what Tantra is?
Yeah, sure. So it is a huge tradition, and there's many traditions within it, different perspectives on how to practice Tantra. Fundamentally, it's a spiritual practice. It happens to include sexuality, and in the training that I got, we considered Tantra to be the first yoga, that all the yogas came from Tantra, but many of them dropped the sexual components because it's very volatile energy and it can be misused. Yeah. So they just decided, at least this is what we were told, and just decided to drop it. So it's part of the yoga tradition, but it's in my training, the first yoga. And fundamentally what it is it's a way to help humanity to move up the ladder of evolution. So progressing spiritually, with what I see in my courses. Just to give an example, people evolve, like say somebody who can't receive love, Tantra will give an exercise to open the heart chakra, cleanse it and strengthen it, give it energy and connect you with the source of love. Okay, so there was a fella who did just the first evening, he pulled me over, he's very shy, good looking guy, had a great job, he had a lot going for him, very smart. And he said, Lucy, my wife left me 5 years ago and I haven't dated since then. And I actually had decided that I'd never be able to fall in love again. He said, after this evening, I know I can love again. So that's a huge evolutionary leap for him, to heal up the heart injury he had from, the failure in his marriage, And, so people, Tantra helps people to remove, now I'm going to use jargon here, Tantra jargon. So chakras, energy field, energy pathways. So all of us have stuff in our stuff, it's energetic debris, stuck in our energy field or in our chakras or in our pathways. We don't know where they are. And a lot of it is emotional stuff that's unresolved from the past. Some of it could be just from yesterday, that recent. Some of it's from ancient, childhood. And there, these blocks, they make blocks to energy flow, and they become patterns of behavior. It's not only emotional, they can be physical blocks as well, yes. In some fashion, a contraction around a certain chakra, say the sex chakra, for somebody who's had a rape or an injury sexually. So with Tantra, we cleanse the system with a bunch of different exercises that include movement, sound, focus. What am I missing? Movement. Yeah, a few other things as well.
Yeah.
And all these things, they serve to help release the blocks that are ready to go. And they can be old and profound, and patterns that a woman keeps repeating over and over, or a man over and over again. Yeah, and doesn't seem to know how to get out of it. So an example would be a guy who let's say when he was a little boy, his mom didn't cherish him or have him feel seen, or didn't appreciate him as a boy. And so he got injured in his masculinity. And so now he's afraid to ask women out. And, he keeps backing away and becomes a pattern. He sees a nice woman he'd like to get to know, and he can't do it. He lives in the fear. It's in his pattern. And Tantra will help to dissolve that pattern. So the basic thing is that what we do is we cleanse and strengthen the energy system in order for people to self-evolve. Yeah, Tantra is the path of self-evolvement. Even if you're coming with a partner, your partner's not going to evolve you. Hello. A lot of people think, yeah, if I can just bring my partner to this Tantra stuff, then our relationship will be fixed. Yeah. Well, maybe there's something in you that first has to be released, and you stop doing this or you start doing this, or,
Yeah.
release a certain pattern that you're embodying every day. And you have to self-evolve. Yeah. Being in a partnership in Tantra and practicing Tantra will make that dissolving of the blocks much faster. But sometimes if a couple doesn't know how to negotiate conflict, because what's going to happen is, energy comes up through the Sushumna, right, which is in the middle of the body. It's an energy pathway. Not, some people can see it, but, you can feel it. And as energy comes up, there's stopping points that are like, if you have a subway, you've got subway stations, right? So you've got this energy pathway, and it's got stations where, it's interconnected with the rest of your body, your organs, and your heart, your uterus, your clitoris, your stomach, and other things like that. So all interconnected energetically. Where was I? Yeah, so the energy comes up, or you're doing some Tantra, and it hits a block. And if you're working together, and maybe it's a real big block because there's so much energy, because the two of you are working together. And say maybe, okay, so maybe it's a woman, and she's like, it's in her heart, or maybe even in her sex chakra. We store a lot of emotion in our sex chakra, ladies. So something will explode because the energy has gotten it broken up, but she's not able to really deal with it. So maybe she's gonna go, "Arr, arr," like she'll scream at him, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't do anything." Yeah, you're right. Does he know the thing to do is just be with her?
Yeah.
Just let her go through this, maybe roar back, maybe not. You have to feel it, because you couldn't intimidate her if you roar back. But, some women need that. Like, I just have to fight this, and I'm gonna, express that anger from when all those men did those things to me, So self-evolution is the key. Yeah, don't stagnate, whatever you do. Keep learning, developing yourself. So, it's a big, there's lots more to it. I mean, there's meditation. Some people really look for enlightenment, and really that just means bringing light into the body. And that's it's a bigger process. Yeah, there's meditation. There's certain ways to eat and not eat. There could be some dharma, like certain kinds of tasks that you take on, that kind of stuff. So it is larger, but it's gotten confused here in the West with Tantra means sex. It's a spiritual practice that happens to include sexuality, but there's it's a discipline. A lot of people think, oh, Tantra, orgies, la 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 la, or non-consensual sex at some kind of workshop. That's not the real thing. No. So, say again.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. That is key. It is a spiritual practice first before it turned into the sexual practice.
Sometimes the boundaries boundaries need to be really clear in this kind of work so that everybody feels safe, and they have to be not just clear but enforced.
Yeah.
Like I'll send people home if there's something. It doesn't happen often.
You're very good with that. Yeah. Absolutely.
So no, people have to feel safe in order to do this deep work, and what comes up, and it's very vulnerable, sexuality, and tender. So we have to treat it with that kind of respect. So yeah, in the West, it's gotten a reputation of being only for couples, and highly maybe, it's like only sex and maybe unboundaried sex. Yeah. So it's not what it is.
That's not what
somebody has put something together for whatever reason, and they're calling it Tantra. Yeah. That's all. It's just the name they're using. And just to address the thing about that Tantra is always for couples, it's not. Yeah.
It's not at all, right?
If
Yeah.
somebody's looking for, like what happened for you, you became a magnet for men. Yeah. This is very common because, you know, you already have a lot of sexual energy. Yeah. And so whenever the block was, whatever was there got dissolved, that just was now in your field, and your feminine energy was in your field as well. And men love that. Yeah, men love the space that women are when you're in your best qualities. That's why you have to take care of yourself so you can be at your best. But yeah, when you're doing, if you're a Tantra is not just, it is perfect for singles because it will help you get what you want in terms of relationship, or to move you to the next step of whatever healing you need, or whatever daily life situations you want. So don't get misled that it's just you know, for partners. And you know, you can come and do Tantra as a single, because there's, most teachers will have made some accommodation. If there's more women than men, or more men than women, they'll figure something out.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's perfect definition of it.
Mm-hmm.
While you were talking there, just one more thing I want to touch on. This has been fantastic, by the way. What do you do about women who have been sexually traumatized, who are dealing with that trauma? How do you deal with them in a tantra sort of setting?
Okay. So it does depend on what the trauma is, but trauma is an energy pattern, yeah, at its most basic, and it's also thought patterns that get triggered. So, you know, if you smell something connected to the trauma, or, you know, somebody looks at you the way, or somebody is wearing the same color as what happened to you, you know, with the person, you'll get triggered into thoughts, which will then give you behaviors. So it can also trigger a lot of emotion, because emotions are actually just thoughts that have been embodied. So, you know, if you have a thought of fear, it will set off your fear system, and your body will start pouring the chemicals of fear out, and that'll make you run or hide or freeze. Yeah. So women fight, flight, or you might fight if that's what's left to you, or if that's what your pattern is. Yeah. So really, once
I'm speaking
there's
about
so many.
I'm speaking about sexual relationship trauma, that stuff.
Yeah. Tell me more about what you, because it is a big topic. Yeah. So
I know it is a big topic. Well, I mean, you know, women who really want to heal, but there's this real big block around intimacy because of not necessarily a past relationship, but it could have been childhood sexual trauma. You know, and it's really pervasive in so many parts of their lives. So, you know, what do you do with women who come to your course who have been sexually traumatized?
yeah. Well, the energy clearing is so big part of it. The you know, say we're working with sexual energy in a particular exercise. So a lot of times the blocks will happen in the sex chakras, and women are afraid to feel that. So with the when the energy starts to move with the exercises that we do, a woman can start to repattern the fear or the anger or whatever's there, either by letting it out, because sometimes it does come out, or by now it's shifted into, oh, I feel this energy rising. It's not hurting me. And you know what? It feels kind of good. In fact, it feels pretty yummy. Let me do a little more of that. Yeah. So there's a repattern that happens as the energy starts to move throughout the body. And the same thing happens for in the heart chakra. So if it's been an injury, like a betrayal of some kind, for example, then as we work with the heart and a woman gets connected with her heart, she can draw on that at any time. And in fact, I suggest that that people do like 5 minutes of this particular heart opening exercise on a daily basis to really, really anchor that in. The ability to be with the heart at any time. Another thing that happens is women will go, they'll go unpresent. Yeah, they'll go numb, or they'll start thinking. Yeah, it's a way to deal. It can be a defense mechanism. It's not always, but it can be a way of defending against the fear or the anger or the grief. Yeah, those are usually the three elements, emotional elements that women are dealing with trauma. Funnily enough, trauma does tend to dissolve in courses. I've had women who've been severely raped by their father for many years, who, you know, they may have done a lot of work in therapy, but there was still something there. And I remember this one woman and what it was for her, and she shared this. It was actually very eloquent. She said, you know, it was the piece where you said about giving, she gave herself permission to be sexual because she felt that she had done something wrong, that it was her fault that her body responded in a pleasurable way from time to time. And, you know, that's just natural. That's, I mean, our bodies are made that way. You don't have to want it, and your body might very well might respond in a pleasurable way, and that leaves guilt in a woman's mind that she condoned it, obviously. And some women get told, I see you wanted it. So a lot of times that can just be the insight comes, or the body experience of something different. There's such a lot of ways. I'm can't think of anything else right now.
No, that's actually really perfect. Thank you for sharing that. That's
There is more.
It's
a whole experience that sets a woman up in more confidence in her femininity, more strength to say no, resolving her inner stuff.
Yeah, but that's key is the mindset around shame. That's perfect. Yes. So we're close to the end. I can't believe it's already been an hour and a half. Lucy, that's amazing. You gave so much, such valuable information that I know will help my members just tremendously. So in the meantime, if anybody wanted to find out more information about what you do and your courses, they would go to tantraworkshops.com.
That's right. There's a website. You can peruse it, have a look at what's available, when the dates are, have a look at the testimonials. We even have pictures. Some people gave us permission to put pictures of them up. So what kind of people are they? You know, it's just normal people. That's another thing that people think, oh yeah, only weirdos. What kind of people? Yeah, no. And there's a contact form on one of the, you know, you have to go to the top. I don't know how it is on a mobile. You know, there's tabs to send a message if you would like to have a short call and see if Tantra would be workable or something for you.
If you need to really interview people, right? Before they enter your courses, you select people. It's not just a free-for-all.
Yeah, very much so. You know, I need to find out who's going to come, who's going to be in my course, you know, and most people it's fine, you know, but the occasional person I'll say either you're not ready for it or you're not suitable candidate for this. You know, maybe they're looking for something different, or they're looking for the wrong thing, you know, or they're really truly, you know, they would need to do a little bit more work before I would want them.
That's
really, maybe they're too fragile or something, you know, but it's unusual. Most people, it's fine. Yeah. But I like to know who's there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's super important for everyone's energy, of course. I can't thank you enough, Lucy. This has just been so helpful, and I know that it's like I said, it's tremendously helpful for the women who are doing the work with me and to like explore even more, because I encourage them to continue their work and continue, you know, in other forms. So thank you so much for being here. I love you, and I can't wait to, you know, see you at your next course. Maybe we'll see. Yeah,
connect again. Yes,
for sure.
You're very welcome. I appreciate so much how acknowledging you are. I feel fulfilled in that. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And I wish you good luck and your gals good luck, and have a really happy life, and, you know, deal with all the things they need to deal with and make it a great life. Yeah.
Thanks, Lucy.
You're welcome.